I warned the little general before I came on live that I might get a little heated in the studio on June 1st, Monday afternoon. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this true independent college football channel for absolute sickos with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I will get to super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. It's all Minnesota Golden Gophers' fault. Everything is our fault. The state of college sports, the state of college football. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are subsidized at the expense of all you football programs out there. It's all Minnesota's fault. This is why we got to go to Capitol Hill. That's why we need Ted Cruz. That's why we need Mary Cantwell. Don't you know Don't you know Minnesota does not deserve to be in the Big Ten? Minnesota does not deserve its media money. I see it all. It is flooding my DMs. Everyone's got their charts out there. Viewership is the only thing that matters. In the last 5 years, it doesn't matter what's happened in the first 130 years. It don't matter. It's all Minnesota Golden Gophers' fault. Don't you know? Don't you know? Why? How could they possibly be in the same conference as the Buckeyes, the Wolverines, the Spartan, the Nittany Lions, the Trojans? How could they possibly be in the same conference as the Huskies? This is what's wrong, Greg. This is what's wrong. If it wasn't for Minnesota sucking it all up, sucking all those extra dollars, there'd be more money to go around. There would be more money going around. Don't you understand? Don't you get it? Minnesota has become the symbol of what is going on. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of lazy crap. If you're going to come after the Golden Gopher, if you're going to come after the Maroon and Gold, if you're going to flood my DMs, you better not miss. And you missed. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been a very busy day today. Extremely busy day today on all fronts. This whole effort has nothing to do with saving college sports, for God's sakes. It's about giving the NCAA a little narrow antitrust protection. It's given a little bit like on eligibility, on player compensation, kind of, sort of, on the transfer portal, again, not having student athletes a part of the discussion. That's all this is. And it's a complete attempt by Smash Capital, by Cody Campbell, to tear down the Big Ten Conference. That's all this is. It's all that has ever been. You know, I've got so many people saying to me, great. You cannot let private equity, you cannot let them in the door. You cannot let the foot come in the door. You can't have a foot in the crack in the door because they're going to take a little and then they're going to take a lot. That is exactly what the Big Ten, but I'm focusing on the Big Ten today. I've been focusing on the SEC. I'm focusing on the Big Ten because, well, I know a little bit about it. I know a little bit about the people in play there. They do not want the government foot in the door that is led by Cody Campbell and Smash Capital. Because they're going to take a little and then they're going to take a lot. And they would rather break away and take their chances. I have been warning everybody about this possible breakaway, that nobody's getting along, that nobody's trusting anybody. I have been warning people for months. I got mocked and ridiculed. I got DM'd like crazy. I got 1,000 DMs, ladies and gentlemen. And now look where we sit today. I'm getting blackmailed. I'm getting told but I'm getting told this channel is going to lose 50% of its viewership if I do not change my ways. I ain't changing nothing. You can't. I have been violently anti-Breakaway. Why? First of all, I don't even know if it's going to work. I don't know if the Big Ten and the SEC is going to get any antitrust protections. They might. I understand the theory, but it might not work. I'm against the Breakaway because economically it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt others more, but I think eventually it's going to hurt the Big Ten and the SEC. I'm against the Breakaway. I'm against the Breakaway because as a college football fan, and I am, ask anybody, ask the little general, I watch them all. I'm not a Big Ten, only Big Ten. I watch everything. I run a national college football YouTube channel. I think it would absolutely suck if there was a Breakaway as a college football consumer. I have been violently anti-Breakaway forever. But if there's any credibility to the college sport, saving college sports bill on capital, if there's any credibility to this at all, then college football, peek around the corner, supports the Breakaway, the Big Ten breaking away from everybody. You cannot possibly pass a bill in which it takes sovereignty away from the Big Ten, freedom of association away from the Big Ten, and maintain another conference maintain it. You cannot possibly give the government any reach in scheduling. Like they're gonna in this bill they're gonna say, wow, this team's got to play this so many times and this team got to. No. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had so many people say to me, great. The Big Ten could fracture. The top of the Big Ten could leave. And my answer has always been absolutely true. Of course that could happen. It might very well happen within the next 10 years. The goal is to 2036. It could happen. It's called freedom of association. You know, the Buckeyes could leave. Michigan could leave. Penn State could leave. They all could leave for something different. They have that ability. They have that decision. They have that freedom. Now I say this. And some of this is going to sound cruel, okay? This show is not going to be for the weak of heart. A lot of you are going to leave right away. Hopefully I see you tomorrow. If I don't, it's my loss, not yours. But I'm not going to change this program. You're not going to come into my DMs and blackmail me. That ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. We'll get back to the University of Minnesota in a second. Who is the Buckeyes supposed to play? Who are these teams that Ohio State's supposed to play? Who are these football teams that Michigan is supposed to play? Who are these teams that Wisconsin is supposed to play? Iowa is supposed to play. Michigan State is supposed to play. Who are they? Who are they? Answer me honestly. Who are they? Are they the SEC teams? The Big Ten and the SEC they're complete. There's been no association other than being in the NCAA. It's just the way it is. I'm not ripping on the SEC, but the Buckeyes have at this point, they've never had any interest. You can understand why. They field 37 teams, academically research. Who are they supposed to play? They're supposed to play a bunch of ACC schools that they have got no history with, no academic, no entanglement whatsoever with 95%. Are they supposed to play with the ACC schools? In basketball, in football, in hockey, in wrestling. Who are they supposed to play? Who are the Buckeyes supposed to play? The Big 12? They got no history with the Big 12. Who are they supposed to? They've been in the Big 10 since 1919. And who got their asses in the Big 10? Who are they supposed to play? Now they have the freedom to separate. Mohr in 2036. And I do not want to take that freedom away from the Buckeyes. If they want to leave, they can leave. Of course. What are we going to manage? Everybody's decision from government on high? What kind of nonsense? The Buckeyes have research relationships, huge relationships with huge, massive research Big Ten universities. Of course, same with Michigan. Same with Wisconsin. Same with the University of Minnesota. People are sending me, I'm not going to show anybody's Twitter X account on this show. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. But there's been decades and decades of There's one person out there saying that the Big Ten schools have been subsidized by the federal government. That's the only reason why. It's called the federal government. It's called state government. It's called private companies. But if you want to just use that example, because most of it's federal government, it's investing in research, and they go to the ones that get it done, who've got it built out. They've got the faculty. They've got the specialty. They've got the tools. This is decades of this stuff. But the last couple of years of viewership numbers, the last 5 years of viewership numbers, that's the only thing that gives value to a school is viewership numbers. You don't even understand the viewership numbers. I don't. Most of us don't. God, and you think it's just the fat guy from Minnesota behind the microphone that is acting like this? The Big Ten is so fired up right now. And I've been warning you for months. No, I swear to God, nobody's listening. I've had people flood me with DMs saying, all this is fake. None of this is real. And now those same people are flooding me saying, how dare you do that? How dare you do that? How dare you don't show empathy? What are you talking about? I'm for the college football playoff of 24 teams when it was 1% in the poll. I was for the 4-4-4-4-2-6, giving everybody the same AQs. I do not want to let these G6 out the door. I don't want to kick them out. But there's a lot of ACC and Big 12 people that do. Is that greed? No, I guess that's not greed. Like literally, what else could I have possibly done? I've given the warning. I've been battling against it. But now it is the University of Minnesota that everybody's blaming for the state that we're in. I have been shown 5 different X accounts with Minnesota laced all over them. Oh, if they weren't being subsidized by the Big Ten, if it wasn't for schools like the Big Ten, we would be making more money. We would have an opportunity. I'm going to tell you something. The Buckeyes, the Wolverines, those schools that are the true needle movers in the Big Ten, they don't look at you any differently than they look at Minnesota, except that they've got deep relationships with Minnesota. That's a fact. Northwestern and Minnesota, deep relationships. Minnesota and Wisconsin, deep relationships. Minnesota, Michigan, always trading back and forth their faculties and the researchers. And I'm going to tell you one more thing to defend the University of Minnesota. We have discovered, we have created, we have given so much in healthcare research to this country that 99% of the universities could not touch in the next 1,000 years. So if you want to come and say that the University of Minnesota is the reason for everybody's difficulty and they're being subsidized, we created this conference. We built this conference. Every school in the conference was given an invitation by the University of Minnesota. We've been involved in every single risk, every single decision, every single expansion that you see before the Big Ten, in which a lot of people said was a bad move, Minnesota has supported. They supported Nebraska. They supported Rutgers. They supported Maryland. They supported UCLA. They supported USC. The University of Minnesota truly pushed the rock up the hill about Washington and Oregon. And that is why I was able to get the Washington and Oregon story right, because it came out of University of Minnesota, you ding-dongs. It's been the University of Minnesota. We've already paid our mortgage. How about them apples? We've already paid our mortgage. Over 130 years of building the wealthiest conference in the nation. We don't bounce the basketball correctly. We can't shoot it. We can't complete a forward pass. But we have built the wealth of the Big Ten. So spare me. Spare me with this. If it wasn't for Minnesota, everything would be okay. Everything would be just fine. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the 130 years of this. And it's Minnesota all over it. Having said all of that, I supported the right, the freedom of association that Big East schools went to the ACC. I supported the freedom of association that Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC. I supported the freedom of association that the Big 12 was able to get Colorado, Utah, Arizona State. And I support the freedom of association if the Ohio State University, the Michigan Wolverines, Nittany Lions, USC, if all of them weighed bye-bye to the bottom of the Big Ten. I would support that. Would I feel bad about it? Of course I would. It would be a fantastic, dramatic live show. But I'm going to support it. You got it. You're relying on government to come on in and now take away universities' freedom of association. What are you going to do next? What more power are you going to give to this government? Because we know what Cody Campbell's plan was. The original saving college sports was to have a government entity do all the scheduling, do all the conference realignment, do all the media rights negotiations, government, no sovereignty anyway. Now they have massaged this a little bit. Now they've given out 111 pages. 111 pages. No. I detest the breakaway. But I detest the forces that are coming on in here to try to take away the sovereignty of the conferences, of two conferences. They're not taking any sovereignty away from the Big 12 or the ACC or the MAC or Conference USA. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question. You wanna let me ask a question to Mark here. Government's responsibility is to all the people, not just a few elite schools. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't get it. I don't get it. Is it the government responsibility to make sure that Utah State is as valuable and athletic and everything else than Utah? Is it government responsibility to make sure that Marshall have the same opportunities, exposure, money, and everything else that West Virginia has? How far do we go with this? You know, and what's strange to me is the same people that are promoting this, oh, the four conferences should get together, pull all their media rights together, they're leaving the G6 schools out. Isn't that something? Isn't that greed? No. It's hypocrisy, first of all. What if this passes? Or what if even more aggressive part of this passes? What if the people who want what if the mandatory pooling of rights come in? If now or a little bit later, 3 years down the line, we're going to have midterm elections, those who want to have more government power may win big in the midterms. What do you want next? You want to have a mandatory, everybody pool their rights together? Okay. Let me ask you a question. What do you do with the Big Ten Network? What are you going to do with what is Ted Cruz and Mary Cantwell going to do with the Big Ten Network? Oh, I should say, what is Cody Campbell and Smash Capital going to do with what are you going to do with it? Because the Big Ten Network is predominantly a network set up for third-tier content. But sprinkled in is first-tier content and second-tier content. Just enough to make it valuable enough to where the network makes money. It's an entanglement of a whole bunch of Big Ten content, right? Like sporting events you would not be able to see otherwise. Regular season softball, bunch of volleyball, bunch of hockey, bunch of wrestling. It's all on the Big Ten Network. We're just going to use the Big Ten Network for example. The Big Ten Network is making money for the Big Ten universities. They bet on it. The universities of the Big Ten took the risk. It could have fallen flat. They were the first ones to do it. 95% of the people out there mocked it. None of the schools received any money for 4 or 5 years. And now it's making a whole lot of money. And it's given a whole lot of exposure. There has been nothing that has given rise to women's volleyball in this country than the Big Ten Network. Cody Campbell. But what are you going to do with the Big Ten Network? If everybody's media rights are negotiated out there Josh Pate. Again, I like Josh Pate. But I listened to him today and I almost drove my car into a bridge embankment. That is where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Pate believes that this bill is going to pass. He says it's going to pass comfortably in the Senate and the House. He says that everybody media rights should go up for bid. That he believes in that. Okay, what are you going to do with the Big Ten Network? Because the Big Ten Network then disappears. It does. It absolutely does, because it's a Fox and Big Ten schools own it. So let me ask Josh Pate. Let me ask anybody in the chat room. Who is going to cut the University of Minnesota a $100 million check to get rid of the Big Ten Network? It's a valuable network. But by government decree, we're just going to eliminate it. I have asked this question in public and in private. Nobody has given me an answer. Well, they'll work it out. The Big Ten risked building it, and now you want the Big Ten to take all the risk in eliminating it. It's unbelievable. It is truly unbelievable what is being attempted here. And again, a lot of you are saying, well, Greg, golly gee whiz, we got to save college sports. We got to save college sports. I would like college sports to be saved as well. I would like there to be an antitrust exemption. I would like the NCAA to get credibility in the courts. I think Congress should have given that to them. But again, for this bill to get this far, what needed to be done? They needed to go after the Big Ten. And why? Why? Why was that part put in the bill? Because the Big Ten bet on themselves and they were successful many, many, many times over. Is that enough to go after the Big Ten? They went after the SEC. Why? If this bill passes, if it's given everybody, if it gives everybody that Cody Campbell possibly wants, if it gives everything that a lot of Big 12 fan bases and ACC fan bases what they want. Okay, you know what? It doesn't help Iowa State a lick to compete against Texas Tech. It doesn't help a lick for West Virginia to compete against BYU. It doesn't help a lick for Wake Forest to compete against Miami. It doesn't help a lick for the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers to compete against Ohio State Buckeyes. It doesn't. Again, for whatever reason, people have got it in their minds that there's only one bucket of cash that's to go target it. Booster money, fine. And I think it's fine. But I'm telling about the people who are favoring this bill. Booster money, fine. Billionaire booster money, fine. University auxiliary fund supplement, fine. Student fee, fine. State government putting more money, fine. Religious institutions filling up the coffers of the private universities, fine. Now, don't get it twisted. I think all that is fine. But media money? Oh, media money? Oh, Minnesota getting that media money, something that we have built value in the Big Ten for 130 years, that is evil. That is true subsidies. That is bad. We got to go after that. Listen. This is the part where I say, agree with me, disagree with me. It's all good, brother and sister. But I'm going to look at you straight in the eye. I'm going to look at you straight in the eye and give you the truth about something. I'm going to give you the truth about the Big Ten thoughts, perception on all of this. They believe they have been targeted by forces, by multiple different private equity money out there. This one is Smash Capital, and by Cody Campbell to bring the Big Ten down. Either by one total shot or by multiple shots within the next decade. This one would constitute the first shot in a multiple shots in a decade. Now, when I say this, the people who have been sending me the DMs, some of them real nasty. When I say this, and I know you're watching because there's a lot of hate watchers out there, and I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. But you're cheering that comment, aren't you? You're cheering. You know exactly what this is about. You know this is about tearing down 130 years because other conferences were torn down by freedom of association. If we cannot tear them down by freedom of association, we're going to tear them down by government decree. This is what you're cheering that. I know you are. This is what the Big Ten knows as well. And that's why they're going to fight against this every step of the way. And if it gets any credibility on that Wednesday and all the other days that follow, the Big Ten is going to break away, and I support it. And I can't stand it. The breakaway is going to diminish college football. That's my opinion. I have said this 1,000 times. Even though those nasty DMs are telling me that I haven't said it, I've said it 1,000 times. But I will be for the breakaway. This is where we're at right now. I just wanted to get that out there. This whole thing that is Minnesota's fault, again, I could show you guys the 5, 6 different X accounts. It's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. But I know you're not. You should be embarrassed. Okay, let me get to the I'm done with my rant. I want to thank the little general for letting me do that rant. I very much appreciate it. We've got Chris Kenny, Super Chat. Chris Kenny, let me know how wrong I got it once again. I do declare Northwestern gets bowl eligible. Watch the spotlight and you're too down on Childs, what Chip can do for him. Interesting. All right. We got an I do declare by Chris Kenny. $5 holler. Thank you, Chris Kenny. I appreciate it. I am down on him. I am. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you so very much. We're going to book that. That one is going to get booked in. Northwestern gets bowl eligible. I think we'll do that like a 3-point valuation, Chris Kenny, 3 points. If you get it right, you get 3 points. If you get it wrong, -3. Thank you, Chris Kenny, for your support. I appreciate it very much. MBM, the Cowboy, Super Chat. That's exactly right. MBM is a genius. Minnesota gave up athletic success so current Big Ten members could taste what winning is like. Thank you very much. Again, in a handful of these accounts out there, Minnesota's the bottom of the Big Ten, blah, blah, blah. They're not. They haven't been. They haven't. But whatever. Thank you, MBM. I appreciate it so very much. Appreciate the $10 holla. Jacoby Cat, we got an evil hot guy in the house. Evil hot guy. Minnesota aerospace program is meh. I would say so. I would say so. Thank you, Jacoby Cat. Very well appreciated again tonight. Today's show. It's all Minnesota Golden Gophers fault, as told by many accounts here in the last 36 hours on X. People are sending me this stuff left and right. If you haven't seen it, you can DM me and I will show you a couple of examples. Again, I don't want to go out here and, I don't want to, they're not here to defend themselves. I don't want to do that, but woo, unbelievable. Unbelievable. John Grove. We got a super chat. John Grove. Wow. Wow. I do declare our Purple Wildcat brethren from Evanston will open up the new Ryan Field with an upset over Penn State and evil Matt Campbell. Okay, we're going to book that in our I do declare competition. So we've got in our 72nd and our 73rd I do declare predictions. So we will get it in there. Thank you so much, John Grove. Wow, that one is going to be a 4-pointer. I think that's going to be a 4-pointer, John Grove. I think so much. I think that's where we're going to put it. Okay, I know a lot of people want to yell at me for everything that I said in that rant. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Now, I got 8 watches all over the place, sir. All over the place. But look, I'm just... I love the Big Ten, but you have been put on blast. I have the very good fortune and some unfortune to talk to people who are not nobodies like me. People in the Big Ten, the money purchase. We're at DEFCON 0. And I happen to think that the breakaway is bad. Some people in the Big Ten, people I talk to, some people agree with me, some people disagree with me. I think it's going to be not good. But I say this, I know I know you're going to roll your eyes. I know you're going to, oh, Greg. I'm telling you, the Big Ten does not want to give up 1 inch of what it has succeeded. They of all that they have risked, they don't want to give up 1 inch of their sovereignty. They do not want, institutionally they have promised themselves over the next 5 or 6 years, these are our projections. And they don't truly believe if everybody goes in and bids, the scarcity thing is going to make everybody money go up. They don't believe that at all, because they've done the negotiations with the media partner, Fox, CBS, NBC, and only got Washington and Oregon at 50 cents of the dollar. They do this valuation constantly. They have war gamed the next expansion. They don't believe bringing on all these G6 schools or even just the Big 12 ACC schools. Everyone's going to make more money and its happy days are here again. In fact, I don't think many of you believe it, truthfully, because a lot of you have correctly stated, in my opinion, that if the Big Ten adds this school, this school, this school, they're going to be diluted. They're going to be diluted. But suddenly the magic number is 138. If they add 138, everybody makes more. Oh, no, that's not the number. Add 68, have 68 schools. Then magically everybody makes more money. The Big Ten doesn't even believe it. Look at their white papers. Now, we understand that the bill does not say it's not mandatory, but it is one giant step from man. No, it is one giant step forward on that. That's how they're perceiving it. They don't want to have to battle the next battle. They do not understand. The Big Ten, you saw how many, I think the latest total was 89 signatures, 88, 89 signatures to the college, saving college sports, the CSC they're calling it, the bill that's where they're going to come out on Wednesday. Again, Wednesday, I have talked to the little general. She is open to, I am open to covering it live. Covering it live. And again, I think the last, Ross Dellinger has changed the time. I'm going to have to look at it. It's either 9 o'clock Eastern time or 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if somebody in the chat room can send me a link or send me on X, because because this is the government hearing in the Senate, I believe I'm able to stream that live without getting any copyright troubles with YouTube. Right? If it's on C-SPAN, I think I'm going to be able to. So I'm looking to live stream this. So if somebody can keep your head on a swivel, let me know where the link is, let me know what time, and we'll do a live stream, and we'll be on here, and everybody can comment, everybody can cheer for it, whatever you want to do with it. So we're going to try it. But out of the 89, or I think it's up to 89 signatures that support the saving college sports, chancellors, presidents, board member, chair of the board, former trustees, current trustees, out of 89 signatures, I think we got somebody from Oklahoma, somebody from the LSU president, I believe, or somebody in LSU, Penn State trustee, Michigan trustee. I think we're up to 4 Big Ten SEC out of 89 who support it. So there's a lot of, like I say, there's going to have to be major changes to Section 205, or Cody Campbell's going to have to increase his expenditures on his advertisers to support this bill by about 10,000% for this thing to pass. And I do think it's going to run mostly into trouble with the fact that the employment part of it is not in the bill. The limited transfer is not in the bill. Students are not, the student athletes don't really have a voice in the things of that nature. I think is going to torpedo the bill. But again, if this bill gets any credibility on Capitol Hill, I am going to do the unthinkable. Something that I would have never imagined. Something that I'm going to feel terrible about and that is I'm going to support the Big Ten breakaway, even though I think it's going to fail. Because this cannot abide. This cannot abide. And let me know how wrong it I got once again. Let's see here. Michael Smith, Cruz came out in interviews this week saying surprisingly very little pushback on this legislation after introduction. He wants over 70 votes for this. Skaven, yes. Nebraska just started getting paid for the Big Ten Network. Don't take the money now. It's those evil Badgers' fault. No, look, Minnesota's getting the blame. Minnesota, I wish I could show you. I'm not going to show you guys the... it's Minnesota... It's Minnesota's fault, ladies and gentlemen. We were not getting paid so much. We don't deserve to be in the Big Ten. Well, you know what? The Buckeyes might agree with you in 10 years from now. Michigan might agree with you. But it is their freedom of association that would decide it, or should decide it. Not government. Not anybody, not the government, in my opinion. And again, I'm not one of these extreme anti-government people. I'm not that way at all. On the spectrum, I'm a little bit right of center. But I'm not an extremist. So, no, I'm not ready to support the breakaway today. Okay, 10 a.m. Wednesday. Going to be streamed live via committee website. Thank you, Rod Nix. But if anybody has that link on X, if you get it, if you see it, can you send it to me in a DM? Because I am the original Minnesota moron. I'm not might not be able to see it. Okay, let me check here 1 second. All right. We got to get more to the... We've got another story. That was my opening dialogue on that. It turned out to be a 52-minute rant. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, if I got you all bent out of shape. Antoine Johnson thinks... I thought it was moved up to 9 a.m. I thought it was moved as well. Just please somebody help me out. Please somebody help me out. Okay, let me know, and I'm gonna do all that I can to pull that off. Hopefully, some of you join up and watch it. Now we have gone from me being cranky, from me being pretty happy here. Bam, Scott Docterman. He is not the original Minnesota moron. He is an Iowan Hawkeye genius. His article says it a lot better than I have ever said. The case for the 2014 playoff, saving, not destroying college football. Scott Docterman, this was a free article from The Athletic. Narratives surrounding the 2014 college football playoff proposal have crystallized into one big, well-meaning fear that it would ruin the greatest regular season of sports, rivalry games, the postseason, and maybe every holiday between Thanksgiving and Groundhog Day. Again, Scott Docterman, The Athletic. But the more I look in the merits of the 2014 college football playoffs, the more I am sold. It won't ruin college football and the traditions we hold dear. In fact, the 2014 playoff could save college football and ensure the sport thrives for decades to come. In some ways, college football has never been better. Name, image, and likeness, money, and the transfer portal have spread out the talent. Television ratings continue to rise. The attendance remains high. Indiana, once the longest program in college football history, just won the national title. But the sport has the potential to implode. Breakaway conversations taking place within the most powerful conferences eventually could lead to an invitation-only Super League takeover. That might not include my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers, but I would still support it if this bill up on Capitol Hill gets any credibility. Every discussion revolves around money, and it makes sense for every program to investigate how it can generate enough revenue to compete at the highest level. But for most programs, the highest level is elusive. In previous eras, collecting a prestigious bowl invitation was every team's goal. Now the sole focus is qualifying for the 12-team playoff. Anything less is considered unsatisfactory. CFP expansion is going to happen. 3 of the 4 power conference commissioners have endorsed doubling the field size to 24 teams. The holdout SEC Greg Sankey is listening. As they weigh what's best for the sport, they need to look toward 2050 and the benefits a larger, more inclusive playoff would bring to that future. Here's why the 24-team college football playoff is the right system for America's sport. The regular season effect. In college basketball, a major conference 10th best team can still play for a national championship. In college football, the 10th best team in the country can't even qualify for the current 12-team tournament. And if you believe that a 16-team CFP will settle the question of inclusivity for every team of quality, think again. Traditionalists argue the CFP's goal is to pit elite teams against one another based on regular season excellence. Under the bowl structure, in a world with smaller conferences, that was a perfect sentiment. But what the 8th seed Ohio State proved in 24-25 and the 10th seeded Miami nearly showed last season is that parity now runs deeper in the sport and excellence is ambiguous. Teams with first-round byes are 1-7 in the CFP quarterfinals. NIL and transfer portal have even the talent levels. The postseason needs to change with the times, and so do our views on the season itself. With 3 weeks remaining in the 2025 regular season, 35 Power 4 teams had 3 or fewer losses. The top 9 plus number 12 Chris Vanini's rankings of all 136 bowl subdivision teams at that point went on to make the CFP. Non-P4 qualifiers: Tulane, 28th after week 11. James Madison, 32nd, rounded out the 12-team field. The 3 lost teams outside of Vanini's top 12 had conference opponents and rivalry games left to play. Yet, the results had no bearing on the playoff positioning. With 25% of the season still hanging in the balance, more than 71% of the teams with 3 or fewer losses had no real shot at the playoff. In a 16-team CFP, Vanini's top 14 would have qualified. Now imagine if you will, if those teams outside the top 14 still had a shot at the CFP just as the season reaches its zenith. On Thanksgiving weekend in 2025, 10 power conference games would have directly impacted the 24-team field. 10 of them. Not the bracket, the field. The field. It's more with the bracket. 3 lost teams, Texas, USC, Houston, would have all secured playoff spots with their wins. Arizona State would have decided a CFP berth. Not a Holiday Bowl invitation, but a college football playoff berth. Losses by Washington, Wake Forest, SMU, Tennessee, Pittsburgh sent them all to the 4-loss territory. They would have all been out, but they would have had a chance to get in. Iowa's 40-16 win against Nebraska led it to the number 23 ranking, and the Hawkeyes would have gone on to qualify as the last season's only 4-loss college football playoff team. In reality, only 3 of those 10 games played a role in setting the 2025 12-team CFP field. We go from 10 games to 3 games. Does that make the regular season more valuable? More important? Better? No. Miami had to beat Pittsburgh to vault Notre Dame for the final at-large spot. Duke win against Wake Forest, and SMU's last second loss to California sent the ACC into a massive tiebreaker for its championship game, which helped open the door for James Madison. The others became your typical rivalry games that decided bowl positioning and traveling trophies, but little else. However, if those games carry direct CFP importance, the interest skyrockets. If Pittsburgh has a chance at the CFP, perhaps its fans fill some of the nearly 20,000 seats that were empty against Miami, but taken against Notre Dame 2 weeks earlier. If a playoff bid is at stake for Arizona State, maybe more than 1.8 million people watch it in prime time. In the seasons last week, an upset like Wisconsin over Illinois and showdowns like Oklahoma and Missouri, TCU and Houston would have garnered more attention than they did as shrug-worthy stretch run contests. I just love the idea of really meaningful games in November. UCLA Athletic Director Martin Jarmond said at the Big Ten meetings in May, more teams having a chance. I think that's something that's not talked about enough during the stretch. How many more games become that much more important? Additionally, a 24-team field helped September. A non-conference loss wouldn't have the devastating effect like it does now. Every school in the Big 12, ACC, and SEC scheduled games against 10 power conference opponents this year. The Big Ten, which had a similar policy until a few years ago, and they should have the same policy now, and it's embarrassing that the Big Ten does not have the same policy, likely would make it unanimous with the 24-team CFP. That would represent a major upgrade from 2024, when just 46 of 68 teams played 10 or more power conference opponents. Imperfection is a given. Bathe in all the nostalgia you want, but the sport could never pass a purity test. Bowl matchups, get this is true, bowl matchups often were arranged in October, with game directors selecting teams based on ticket sales and national profile. It's true. So this whole thing about how, the regular season was so important for everybody. If you didn't make it in the 14 playoffs, you could bowl game, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these bowl games, the matchups were decided in late October, not in November. They're early in the bowl coalition, a forerunner of the BCS. The Fiesta Bowl chose Notre Dame, 6-4-1, to play number 4 Colorado, 10-1. In 2004, Texas lead past Cal for the final BCS at-large bowl slot without either team playing another game. In 2010, the Fiesta Bowl had to take Big East co-champ UConn 8-4 to match up with Big 12 champion Oklahoma. During the inaugural 4-team CFP in 2014, Ohio State jumped TCU and Baylor in the rankings despite those Big 12 co-champions winning decisively on the season's final weekend. So you got to tell Baylor and TCU that their regular season game, that they really mattered. It did not. It did not. Even in 2025, Notre Dame was ranked ahead of Miami every week until the final. Then the teams are swapped despite neither playing. So spare me. College football, perfectly imperfect structure, needs a renovation. The oversized conferences, the unbalanced schedules, off-field economics, and change in attitudes about postseason demanded. All a 16-team field does is force a group of volunteers on the CFP committee to make an impossible choice on roughly 8 to 10 teams with the same profile. One program gets a marker of distinction. Another gets a bowl trip filled with the players opting out. Which 9-3 team is better? Nobody really knows. Absolutely true. A 24-team CFP is big enough to include every team of quality, yet exclusive enough that only 17.5% of FBS participants would compete in it, which would remain by far the lowest percentage among major American sports. It adds more impactful games on campus. It adds value to November football. It keeps conference structures intact, and it could prevent wandering eyes from gazing at a Super League setup fueled by private equity. And I want to get back to that, by the way. Most importantly, every Power 4 program would have hoped on the field, which is priceless in this money-driven era. Let's embrace it, not mock it. Fantastic job by Scott Dockman from The Athletic. Fantastic job. Now, hold on a second here. Let me wet my whistle, and then I want to give you guys a little bit of a. Hold on. That was water, and now I'm breaking out the zero sugar cherry Coke. All right, here we go. Now we're getting into it. Now we're going to get into it. I am going to expand on what I'm about to say. I'm going to expand on it as much as I possibly can on an early peak Cloak and Dagger episodes from members only. I completely understand where Ryan Willie is coming from. People spend money on gift memberships. People got memberships. I have not been producing enough of the member-only episodes. I do apologize to Ryan Willie and everybody else who's a member. I apologize to Bill G and MBM and a lot of OPD Done. A lot of you that have given out these gift memberships. So this is one story that I'm going to expand upon a little bit on a membership episode, but I just want to put my feet in the water here a little bit on this live show. We went through a story. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, Sunday about, we touched a little bit upon the Utah Utes private equity deal, Otro and all that. And I don't know the ins and outs on it. And if you missed it, go back and watch it. I didn't really I wasn't like, I did not take a side or whatever. I didn't really drill down on the deal. We talked about other things around that deal. But there is there's a lot of cloak and dagger going on when it comes to schools positioning themselves for the next wave of disruption. You've heard a lot of people say they believe it's coming in the next couple of years. Michael Alford, Mark Coyle, Jim Smith, a lot of athletic directors, other people have talked about it. And there is a lot of positioning going on, but there's a lot of NDAs out there. And there is a lot of information that is embargoed. There is also a continuation of, and I'm just going to give it a broad title because I'm not smart enough to decipher the differences. So I'm going to give it a broad title. There is a lot of third-party money and influence out there that is still going at it. The Big Ten is not going to strike a deal with UC investment. The Big 12, but I'll get back to that. But the Big 12 did strike a deal with Redbird Capital. Relatively small, but they're trying to modernize the conference. They're trying to for-profit entity. They're going to try to use Redbird Capital's networking and try to leverage Big 12 properties. And if you saw a report last week, Ross Dellinger report, he talked about the different models that the SEC is looking at when it comes to a breakaway. One of the models is a collective bargaining, for example, includes a collective bargaining. Many of them don't. One of the models includes, the breakaway model, includes bringing in a third party to bring in a cash infusion. Again, I don't know what type of deal that would look like, but there are still the Big Ten is not the UC investment deal, but the Big Ten continues to explore how to modernize their conference, especially considering they might go silo. There is still major money out there. And again, you're seeing the influence of it in regards to this Cantwell-Cruz bill. A lot of money. And I'm not talking Cody Campbell money. I'm talking his money, but I'm talking other money. There is still this outside money influence networking that's trying to crash the college sports party. So this is a war of, we always talk about a ESPN Fox proxy war, where ESPN uses SEC, the Big Ten uses the Big Ten, and they have their proxy war. The college football playoff format is a proxy war. Right? ESPN is trying to hold their power as much as they can. So we all know that, right? But there is this other proxy war that is going on. And it is like the gods that are above Fox and ESPN and the gods that are above SEC and the Big Ten. There's this huge influence, money influence. Some of that money influence wants to take college sports this way. Some of that big money influence wants to take college sports that way. The SEC and the Big Ten are primarily focusing on the third-party money influence, potential new media partners that are going to take their individual conference this way or that way or this way. So that is another, this saving college sports is a proxy war that is going on between these just gigantic money interests that are out there. I just wanted to bring that up because we have not heard the last word by far on, I'm just going to call it third-party money, interest, and power. I just wanted to bring that up because the war is going to go on in that regard. We've got the Irish Ryan is in the house. Greg, I think the SEC and the Big Ten are stuck. If this does go through, the reading the bill, it seems like they will be forced back into the NCAA. Seems nuts. I have talked to others. It may be true. MBM, if it's not jelly filled, it's not a donut. MBM. I don't know what you guys' donuts takes are as bad as your burger takes. Let's see here. All right, we're going to open up the phone lines. Opening up the phone lines again. If you call in, the floor is yours. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. Super chats. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. The other comments I will pick and choose relative to the what we're talking about here on our live show. Let me open up the phone lines. Again, I appreciate y'all coming on in. June 1st, beautiful Monday, 763-260-1333. It is all Minnesota Golden Gophers' fault. We are being subsidized. We are costing other schools money, hand over fist. How dare? How dare the Minnesota Golden Gophers be part of the Big Ten? How dare the Penn State Nittany Lions associate with Minnesota? How dare Minnesota and Iowa associate with Minnesota? How dare Michigan does? They should be associated with a bunch of Big 12 schools, a bunch of ACC schools. They should not be in the same room with my beloved Golden Gophers.
Call from
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, Greg. I was listening to your rant earlier.
Yes, sir.
And look, there's no need in apologizing. My thing is this: college football has become big business. I keep saying this. These schools that's outside of the P2, including my school, everybody just looking for a landing spot. So it's like crabs in a barrel. Everybody fighting everybody to get where they got to go. Okay? Yeah. And Minnesota, hey, I don't blame Minnesota. If they already in the conference in the Big Ten and they are a founding member of the Big Ten, you can't hate on that. They was the one who established the conference. You know, so it shouldn't be no hate towards Minnesota because everybody's trying to get you know. And my thing is this. One thing I can say about Florida State, when we built our brand with Bobby Bowden, he built that brand on we will play anybody, anywhere, anytime.
True.
You didn't have to come to Florida. We come to you. We built our brand that way. So when I look at these schools, these other schools, hey, who you putting on your schedule? Nobody. We not talking about cupcake games. Cupcake games don't bring viewership. It don't bring eyeballs. It don't bring money. You got to go and play the big brand schools. Not only play them, but you got to beat them. Now, if you play them and you getting lopsided losses, okay, you're not there, and it's okay. It's okay. You gotta take baby steps to get there. These big brand schools, hey, trust me, they got beat down. Hey, we done lost some games also, but we have won our fair share of them. My thing is people forgetting this football that we all love to watch. It's about competitiveness. You got to come and you got to bring your A game, baby. You got to come to the field and you got to bring your A game. And that's the only thing I'm saying.
Yep. You are correct. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it, Greg.
Okay, I appreciate it, sir. Morris Simmons, beautiful call, my man. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Whoops. Wrong sound, wrong. What's going on here? What's going on? Beautiful. He's right. I mean, that was how the Seminole brand was built. Independent streak. We'll play you anywhere. What's going on here?
From
Moen.
Moen, can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Go for it.
We got a very special super chat here. The Evil Badger. Ryan Willie. He's dreaming of the axe coming on home. $5 holler. I think he's throwing an elbow at Minnesota. Minnesota will have a year like Wisconsin had when I was a small Evil Badger that you listed in an episode. I think you're being, or maybe you're being kind. Maybe you're saying that Minnesota someday will have a Barry Alvarez type of year. But whatever. Thank you, Evil Badger. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. Morris Simmons, appreciate the phone call. Moen, I'm going to give you the floor because I believe you might have something to say. Go ahead, sir.
I absolutely do, Greg. And I just want to start out. Lard fried donuts are the best donuts. If you've never had a lard fried donut, you got to go get one.
My wife just bought a bottle of lard. It's in she's got it, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Lard fried is the way to go.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Midwest will tell you that. As for this, it's a good thing you're the cooler, Greg, because I was full hot this morning when I read that the Big 12 and the ACC commissioner endorsed this bill.
Yeah.
What country do we live in where we're now going to take away freedoms from these universities and these conferences?
We're going to take away some of them. Some of the freedoms from some of the conferences.
That's true.
Not all
we're
the
going to specifically target.
Yeah.
We're going to target the most successful and redistribute their wealth to the less successful. This is a government bailout. That's all this is. This is a government bailout. They want to bail out and take the success of the Big Ten and the SEC. And, I didn't want silos either. But, I mean, if you're going to take freedoms away from us and tell us we can't govern our own conference, do you have the book there, Greg, that shows how old the Big Ten Conference is?
Yeah. This book was a copyright in 1976. It has the last seasons of 1975. So table of contents, and I showed this yesterday. This book, Big Ten, first 80 years. Okay? It's a book about the Big Ten's first 80 years. And that, my friends, 50 years ago. This book was published, printed 50 years ago. So it's 130 years. And the Big Ten has made mistakes. The Big Ten has had scandals. The Big Ten has risked. The Big Ten has made big gains. Nobody promised nobody nothing. No membership was secured. I mean, 130 years later, suddenly Cody Campbell, suddenly Smash Capital Corp are going to come in and take away some of the sovereignty of the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's going to say no, and people are saying, oh, they're greedy, they're bad, they're terrible. I mean, whatever. Come on. Of course the Big Ten's going to fight this. If that Section 205 does not get eliminated out of this bill, the Big Ten should completely walk away, and they should break away.
Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I don't want to do it. It's not something I would look forward to, but I mean, you know, we've managed to govern our own conference for 130 years. We've been pretty good at it. We've formed the Big Ten network. We basically got everybody paid more money by walking away from ESPN.
Oh, yeah. And
ESPN,
we got mocked for
at that time. Yeah, and we got mocked for it.
Yeah.
Let the dice be rolled. Jim Delaney rolled the dice. He went to Fox Sports. All the universities put millions of dollars up front in startup costs to start the Big Ten network. They got called every name in the book for it.
Yeah.
It's successful.
Not only did they put up millions of dollars in startup costs, but they also did not take any money for the first 4 or 5 years because that money went to Fox. So
right.
We were all in the hole like $20 million before we even got a first dollar bill from the Big Ten network. And now that it's making money, suddenly we all got to go into together. We took the risk. I don't know why, and nobody will answer that, Mohr. Send a post to Ted Cruz, Mira Cantwell. Send it to anybody, all the YouTube channels you love to watch, all the people in Big 12 country and ACC country. If you say, what do we do with the Big Ten network? If you guys eliminate it, who's going to cut the Buckeyes a $100 million check? Who's going to do that? Who's going to send $1.4 to $1.6 billion in money for us to eliminate the Big Ten network?
Greg, it's also future earnings from the Big Ten network. You're just not going to pay us startup costs. You're going to pay us future earnings. You have to. You know, but I mean, my point is, they went into ESPN, they left ESPN, went to Fox. It opened up the market for every college football conference. The SEC was able to get paid more because of what the Big Ten did.
Yep.
The ACC was able to get paid more because of what the Big Ten did. The Big 12 was able to get paid more because of what the Big Ten did.
Yes.
And now the ACC and the Big 12 want to punish the Big Ten for that. You want to punish us for our success, but not only our success, but helping you get more money in your media deal by saying competition
while the Big 12 can still pursue their success at a very aggressive rate, while the ACC can pursue their success at a very aggressive rate. None of this bill puts any guardrails, anything in the way of the Big 12 thirsting and getting bigger and getting more valuable with media companies that might buy in, third party that might buy in. If you paralyze the Big Ten and the SEC, you're only going to induce incredible incentives for the Big 12 and the ACC to take advantage of it, and money might pour into it. I tell you. And Mohr, you know this. I talk to people in the Big Ten. Nothing is fueling this breakaway more than how this bill is written up. I mean, this is, And you know what? They knew that this was going to be part of the bill, and that's why they have accelerated the breakaway talks within the SEC and the Big Ten. They knew that Cody Campbell was supplying the grease for the skid to get this bill written. They knew that there was smash capital, third-party money that was getting this bill written. They knew the forces were not stopping, so they have accelerated their breakaway talk.
Yeah, and it didn't need to happen. This is one billionaire who's basically obsessed with the Big Ten and the SEC. He's absolutely obsessed with them. He showed it last week with the whole Sarkisian thing. I'll buy out both games, and you can play each. Guy is absolutely obsessed with the Big Ten and the SEC. And I know it upsets people, but people in the Big Ten and the SEC have a right to feel targeted. You've basically loaded a gun and put it to our heads and want us to make the next move. And then you're going to be upset with us when we make a move that protects our liberties, our freedoms, our sovereignty, our right to make our own judgment calls on who we want to be members and who we don't want to be members. And it's not just the Big Ten and the SEC, Greg. It's every institution that's a potential candidate on an expansion list. You're targeting Utah, you're targeting Miami, you're targeting North Carolina, you're targeting Virginia, you're targeting anybody who wants to do what's best for their institution and get into a better run conference that will make them more money and help alleviate some of the financial concerns of their athletic department.
And this would be
How is that fair?
This would be the first step as well. I mean, people are concerned in the Big Ten, what is the next step? Because to do the next step is going to be a lot easier after you get this first step done. This is a government supported by big money to go after the Big Ten. That's what this is all about. Michael Smith says in the comment section, Calford, we're founding members of the West Coast football. No one cares, Greg, and no one cares about Minnesota's role. Certainly not the federal government when go to break up the Big Ten party. Again, the Pac-12, long-standing conference, they broke up. I get it. But you know what? Who did not make it happen? The government did not make it happen. There was no government bill. There was no government decree that made it happen. That's the difference. I mean, you're talking about the Pac-12 made a lot of great decisions throughout the decades, but they made some terrible ones down the stretch of the last 20 years. They should have expanded to the Central Time Zone. They should have taken that first offer. There's a lot of things that the Pac-12 should have done. When they created the Pac-12 network, Michael Smith, they should have had a network go 50-50 on them, but they wanted to own the whole thing, and they did not have the expertise. The Big Ten made a lot of successful moves. The Pac-12 did not. Now, again, this is not the Big Ten breaking up. If it breaks up, should be by the hands of a free associated decision by the Buckeyes, by the Wolverines, by the USC Trojans. It should not be made by anybody else. Just like when USC had the freedom to decide to join the Big Ten. UCLA, the freedom to decide. Utah, the freedom to decide to join the Big 12. Arizona State, Colorado. Freedom of association. I'm calling it straight. I'm calling the balls and strikes right down the middle. Michael Smith, I love that you came in. I love that comment. But you're mixing the apples and the oranges and the pears together, and you're calling them a banana. Go ahead, Mohr.
Yes, sir. I don't want to take up too much time. I want to let other callers get in here, but I'll finish it with this, Greg. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. I love when people disagree with me. It's good to have conversation and flow going back and forth. But I said it last night, and I'm going to reiterate it this morning. I think the time for inaction is over, and I think it's time for the Big Ten and the SEC to both make a move in realignment and expansion. And I said it last night, I'll say it again. I endorse the Big Ten adding Miami and Utah as number 19 and 20.
Wow.
got to look at going to 24. But Utah and Miami, I think, are available right now. They have the funds to get out. Utah just signed their private equity deal. Miami's obviously got tons of booster cash down there in South Beach. I think if I was the Big Ten, I would have extended the invitation yesterday. But now that the Big 12 and the ACC have come out and basically said, yes, we agree with this bill that's punitive towards the Big Ten and the SEC, I think the Big Ten should just start issuing invites. And I think the first two should be Utah and Miami.
Wow. Mullen comes off the top rope. Holy smokes. Thank you, sir.
All right, Greg, have a great show. I'll catch you later.
You got it. I appreciate it, buddy. Beautiful. Nathan, BS Greg, antitrust is there for a reason, big boy. I don't know quite what that means. I'll follow up with another comment. Now, the in the bill, basically it is saying, if you pass this bill, and where the Big Ten, the SEC gives up some of their sovereignty, hold on.
From
Replica.
You can hold on for just one moment, please.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Now, in this bill, if it passes, it does take away some of the Big Ten and SEC's sovereignty. And if the bill passes, it will give the NCAA and all of us this certain antitrust exemption, some protection, right? Limited, but on eligibility, on transfer, on possible compensation, NIL, management, all that stuff. But at the same time, it has a gun to the head of the SEC and the Big Ten, because it says per 2025 fiscal tax year, if you made over $1 billion, you are restricted from acquisition, merger, and all this other stuff that the ACC and the Big 12 are not. They don't have any restrictions. So, again, the Big Ten and the SEC, of course, they're not going to go for this. They're being targeted. So I'm not sure what you mean by that, Nathan, but go ahead, Replica. The floor is yours.
Greg, I wasn't even going to call in and speak on this silo talk, but, I'll give my spiel. The first thing I'm going to say is if you're going into people's DMs and, saying like rude things and, harassing people, it's never that serious. Like they gotta show a certain level of maturity. Like we're all grown here for the most part.
Yeah.
We can disagree with each other without, coming after people's character. That's the first thing. The second thing, I want to pick up where you left off. You said that the Big Ten and the SEC are under attack, but I think people are forgetting why. This all goes back to those CFP negotiations. Remember, during those times, we talked about political costs. The political costs of that move that they made, that's why those, Provision 205? That's why it's in the bill. If they hadn't threatened to break away the first time around, there'd be no reason to have a provision for the Big 12 and the ACC. Nobody in those other two conferences are leaving to go back to the Big 12 and ACC. So the idea that, there's provisions against two conferences and not the other two, well, those provisions aren't necessary. Nobody's leaving the Big 10 to go to the Big 12 or the ACC, and same thing with the SEC. That's why those provisions aren't there. And I know Cody Kimball is the new villain of college football, and people don't like Notre Dame because they're independent, but it's not just them. Ted Cruz has a responsibility to all his constituents in the state of Texas. Like, I listened to his interview with On3, and when he brought up the other Texas schools, I didn't just think about those schools. I thought about those economies. Like, if you ever go to Dallas, go to Highland Park. It's a very affluent and successful neighborhood, and for the first time, really in my lifetime, SMU is a desirable school to not just the elite people, the people who can afford to go there. It's a desirable place to be. They drive economics in that uptown Highland Park area, and if you get to a point where there's Breakaway and all of those other schools are relegated, you're affecting the economy in Dallas, in Fort Worth, Waco, Lubbock, etc. So he does have a responsibility to those schools, and they have big money influence, just like Texas A&M.
Yep.
I think this bill can be passed without Provision 205. And when I read the letter that Yormark put out, he said at the last paragraph, I look forward to kind of refining, legislation in college sports. And what that sounded like to me was, I like the baseline of this bill, but there are things that can be changed and can be made better. Because he's no fool. This bill's not going to pass as is. Like, you're not just going to say that, hey, these two conferences, you can't make any decisions while the other two, the rest of the conference can do the same thing. But we have to be honest about why those provisions are there in the first place. It's not like some blind attack, people trying to take the Big Ten down. I think that's more so of fan culture and people going at each other. This school isn't no good because they don't win in football. With like, who are you to say that they're not a valued member of that conference? Like, there's that last paragraph.
Let me read that. Let me read the whole thing real quick. Replica. This is Brett Yormark. This is the letter that Replica is referring to. Brett Yormark sending it to Honorable Ted Cruz and the Honorable Maria Cantwell. Dear Chairman Cruz and Ranking Member Cantwell, thank you for the leadership. Again, this is Brett Yormark. Thank you for your leadership and for the considerable work that has gone in developing the Protect College Sports Act of 2026. I appreciate the time, attention, and collaboration devoted to advancing a thoughtful legislation framework for college athletics during a period of significant change. The next part is the one I focused on. As the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, I write to express support for the Protect College Sports Act of 2026 and to commend the bipartisan effort to establish a more consistent national framework for college athletics. This legislation reflects an important commitment to and a good foundation for greater stability, clear standards, and meaningful protections for student athletes. Now, I think this is the part that Replica is talking about. I appreciate your leadership on this important effort and welcome continued engagement with you and other stakeholders as it advances in the Senate. Through continued collaboration, I'm confident we can further refine this legislation in a manner that best serves our student athletes, member institutions, and long-term future of college athletics. Go ahead, Replica.
Right. That's him being the political, it's the PR game, but he's no fool. Like, as it stands, this bill's not going to pass. I think he knows that. Phillips should know that. But at the same time, like, when somebody throws you a bone, you can't turn it down. And I'm looking at some of the people who are giving their signature support. Dellinger put in a tweet. There were a couple of representatives, very few, but from Big Ten and SEC schools. No presidents, but I'm talking about trustees, board members. So there's a lot of varying opinions on this. I think ultimately everybody has to get in the room and sit down and decide, do we want to make this work or not? Because there's a lot of grandstanding about how we need legislation, we need this, that, and the third, and it seems like nobody wants to either budge or compromise or come to something that's consistent. So, again, if you're going to break away, do it, but let's not act like it hasn't been in the works. There's a reason why those provisions are there in place. And I'll end on this note because this is what I really want to talk about.
Yep.
There are players in college football who are not being paid based off the CSC and what Gene Taylor, the Kansas State AD, described as inflated NIL deals. The valuations that they're putting is not matching what CSC is describing on the market. And I was speaking specifically about Chaz Coleman at Tennessee.
Yeah.
When he went in the portal, there was a overall expectation he was going to end up at Ohio State. He ended up going to Tennessee, and he has not really been in a part of their program. Like, he hasn't been around.
I think he finally, I could be wrong, I believe he might have went to a summer workout just recently. I could be wrong. He did not participate in spring.
I'm no Tennessee insider, so I'm not sure. I'm just saying
I'm not
it's
either.
giving me Boo Carter vibes from last year.
Yeah.
And there are players out there that have not been compensated, and I think with all this other stuff is not being talked about, but I think that's something we should kind of keep our eyes on as the summer progresses.
Yeah.
But regardless of whether this bill or not needs to get passed, whether or not it will be passed, the stakeholders and decision makers all need to sit down in the room and decide, are we going to keep going forward with this?
Yeah.
And we can't get upset at one person looking out for their best interest and then get mad when the other person does the same thing. And that's for everybody.
You got it, buddy. I would take that. I would take that close to my heart on that. I will try to do better. I appreciate it. Appreciate the call, sir.
Look, this isn't about your rent.
I know, but I'm part of the problem. You know, I know everyone's looking out for their self-interest. I get it, sir. I get it.
Right.
Beautiful call.
Well, we're 2 months away from real football.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
These conversations. That was a good one.
You got it, buddy. Beautiful call. Beautiful, absolutely. A lot of wisdom in Replica's call. Once again, a lot of wisdom. The burnt orange. I have not done the Texas Longhorns spotlight yet, but it will be coming up. We got breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Ross Dellinger, LSU president Wade Rousey tells Yahoo Sports that he did not authorize his name to be included in the list of signatories in the below letter from Saving College Sports. The letter sent to lawmakers support the Senate bill and included Rousey's name as a signatory. So the one SEC president signature that was on this document is not supposed to be on there. So just everybody, the one SEC president. Now there is an Oklahoma Sooner former regent or something like that. The signature is on there. But no other SEC signatures on there. There's a Michigan trustee on there, a Penn State trustee on there. So something like that. Anyways, just for clarification, to clear that up, the LSU president does not want his name signed on the dotted line. We've got a super chat from Dave B, 99 cents. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it, Dave B. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dave B, for your support. Thank you very much. We've got Go Black 45. Go Black 45 LSU. We just talked about the LSU president not really signing that document. Early peak Cloak and Dagger member for 23 months. Go Black 45. Greg, you need to ask Money Purchase about the dissolution vote within the Big 12 in the next few years, not just the ACC. Well, the Big 12 Gore only goes to 2031, correct? So the ACC goes to 2036. I will ask, but I will ask. I will do some poking and prodding. I will take a note after the show's over, and I will ask. Thank you, Go Black 45. Thank you for becoming a member for 23 months. You are hereby officially knighted. Cloak and Dagger, college football, Cloak and Dagger. Thank you, Go Black 45. Appreciate it. We've got ourselves a $5 holler from the one and only Buckeye, and I know he said something very kind to me. Greg's so cold, his signature on a receipt instantly triggers a local winter weather advisory. Thank you, Mohr and After Dark, for the $5 holler. Get your last elbows in. You've only got a couple more months. I'm going to have a winning record after week 0. There are locks out there. There are absolute locks out there. Let me show you. Let me show you the locks. You've got this one. North Carolina State and Virginia, 2.5 point spread. The Cavaliers are favored. I'm not going to tell you which way the lock is, but this is a lock. Greg the Gold's going to be 1-0 after this game. UNC TCU, lock. Absolute lock. Greg the Gold's going to be 2-0 after this game. Therefore, Mohen's Greg is so cold. Super chats and comments and jokes are going to go away after I hit a home run, undefeated week 0 against the spread. Greg the Gold has finally arrived. Redemption Tour 2026. God, I hope. Please, everyone, like and subscribe. Do it to save college football. Thank you, Don Scruggs. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Oklahoma walked it off and sent Georgia Tech home. Bob Swanger, who is the Penn State trustee? I'm not going to be able to read this. Does anybody know that? My answer is I don't know, Bob Swanger. Somebody in the chat, can you help out Bob Swanger and answer that question? Does anybody know? Does anybody have a clue who the Penn State trustee is that signed that document? I have no idea. No idea. We have a massive gift membership by OBD Dunn. Holy smokes. OBD Dunn comes on in, gifted membership. And again, we're going to have an early peak Cloak and Dagger episode for members only tomorrow morning. And again, it's going to be about this third-party money that is knocking on the door ever. It continues. There's a proxy war going on. We're going to talk about it more in an early peak Cloak and Dagger episode tomorrow for members only. If you want to become a member, go to the link in the description box below the video, hit that link, and become a member of this independent national rebel outpost for college football. OBD Dunn gives 5 gifted memberships. Antoine Johnson, the Sun Devil. Rock and Rat, the Hurricane. Stormy Cyclone, the Iowa State Cyclone of Ames, Iowa. The Evil Badger. And Benjamin Kasaki. All gifted a membership. Please say thank you to OBD Dunn when you get an opportunity. OBD Dunn and all of you are officially knighted. Cloak and Dagger cloak and dagger of college football. You are officially knighted. Thank you, OPD Dunn. Thank you for all your generosity. Thank you so very much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. Go to the channel. David B. Thank you, OPD Dunn, purple and gold. And again, the purple and gold president did not sign the Saving College Sports document. Even though his name's on there, his signature's on there, he says he did not sign it. And I do not know if I said his last name correct. I said Rousey. Rousey. Let me know if I got that wrong. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I have gotten everything wrong once again here at College Football Peek Around the Corner. We've got his super chat, David B. David B. Holy smokes. We got another I do declare. Another I do declare. I do declare that the BYU Cougars will sweep Notre Dame in evil Utah. Wow. What valuation do I give on that? I think BYU is going to be a great football team this year. They were last year. They got LJ Martin back. They got Superman back. A 4 or a 5, because Notre Dame is going to be top 4, 5, 6. Utah is going to be top 3, 4 in the Big 12. Well, I don't know what valuation to give that. A 4, it's a tough sweep. But I got to leave room for a more difficult 2-team sweep by team that is lower. I'm going to give that a 4. Unless you can talk me into a 5, Dave B. Thank you so much for the $2 holler. This is a little bit of art and a little bit of science combined when we're talking about this valuation. Dave B, thank you so much for your generosity. Very much appreciated, sir. Very much appreciated. We've got OPD Dunn. OPD Dunn, Super Chat, $10 holla. Well, hell, in my last 2 gift giving, I have given Mohr and Rock and the evil patch. That is funny. That's pretty good. I tell you what, you could not have rounded up 3 more PATC Golden Gopher evil guys than Evil Badger, 150-year history, Mohr, who just clocked my Golden Gophers big time last year, and of course Rock and Rant Miami Hurricanes, who took away the Golden Gophers' great defensive coordinator. So OPD Dunn, I don't know why you're giving gift memberships to those 3, but you did. And now we're going to have to include them into the family. Thank you, OPD Don. Thank you for your $10 holler, for all your support. Very much appreciated. We got the Wild Ute. I know he's going to say, he's going to agree with everything I say. Because that's what's Wild Ute. He has my intelligence. He's got more than my intelligence. But he's still going to agree with everything I say. Wild Ute. $20 holler. Thanks for another great show, Greg. You're the people's source, the source of all sources. Appreciate you and the PATC community. Wow, I thought Wild Ute was going to come in and hammer me on my my victimization today, declaring that everything is the Golden Gophers' fault. I thought Wild Ute was going to go like this to me, and I would have taken it. But no, Wild Ute, very kind. I'm not a source. Well, I don't know if I'm a source. But I do appreciate your friendship, Wild Ute, and I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate the College Football Mafia show, Nathan Brown, Daniel Gygax, Go Becky, Go Huskies, the Sergeant Pickles, Rock and Rant, Wild Ute, everybody, except for that Buckeye. I appreciate everybody on that show, except for that Buckeye. Thank you very much, Wild Ute. I appreciate it. Appreciate it so very much. We got Christopher Hooter. Super chat, Christopher Hooter, the purple and gold. Chris Childers, Full Ride XM, musing today that perhaps Fox and even ESPN are ready to ditch the current CFP, add the best of the ACC and the Big 12, rest of the Big 10 and SEC, and form a new CFP from there, no G6, ACC, and the Big 12. Are they musing? Are they just talking? Are they speculating? Or do they have some people telling them? Let me know, Christopher Hooter. Here's the problem with that. Well, there's a lot of problems with that. But the main, I know someone's going to say, great. Contracts are made to be broken. I don't know how. I think it's going to be really difficult to break this current college football playoff format. You created an LLC. You got all the power conferences into it. Not only, and this contract goes to 2031. Not only that, but the Big Ten and the SEC, they went to the mat. They threatened, they leveraged that breakaway, like Replica said earlier, to get more money in this college football playoff, a bigger distribution money. And they have control of what the college football playoff is going to look like. I mean, I've been ripping on the Big 12 and the ACC somewhat. Some people in the Big 12 and ACC today. But come on, the Big 12 and the ACC, they gave the Big 10 and the Southeastern Conference everything they wanted in this contract. It's the Big 10 and the SEC that can't figure it out among themselves. So, and now they're going to break away. Now they're both going to expand and do this super breakaway, and they're going to form their own playoffs and leave everybody else out. And that contract goes to 2031. Man, I don't know about that. I guess everything's possible. Anything is possible. If that happens, holy smokes. But thank you, Christopher Hooter. I would, again, I would be against that. Now, I'm for the breakaway if this bill gets any credibility. If the bill doesn't get any credibility, I'm against the breakaway. That is my main. I do not want the breakaway. If the breakaway happens, I don't think it's going to be a breakaway that the SEC forms its own playoffs. Again, I could be wrong because, of course, this is uncharted waters. I do not know how extreme this is going to get or how quickly this gets to the most extreme part of this. But I would bet against it. I would definitely bet against it. Bill G, 5 gifted membership. Thank you, Christopher Hooter. Thank you so very much, sir. I appreciate your generosity. I'm going to take a listen to that. Chris Childs, Full Ride, XM. I'll take a listen. Thank you very much. Bill G, 5 gifted memberships. The incredible, edible, Bill G, B digits, TH3-123, the Cornhusker in the house. Jeff Watson, KCW Mac, Eric Phipps, We're all gifted a membership by the incredible edible BLG, the Oklahoma State Cowboy, who is incredibly kind to the members of this program and to myself. Very much appreciated. All of you are knighted Cloak and Dagger. You've been officially knighted Cloak and Dagger, college football knighted. I appreciate you. You're part of the family now. Go to our members. Go to our library of episodes. Watch all the episodes, including the members only episode, Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. And we're going to be putting out a new one tomorrow morning, June 2nd, Tuesday. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bill G. I appreciate it. Incredible generosity. Unbelievable. OPD done. Bill G, thank you. I appreciate it. Very humbled. Very, very humbled. Why am I breaking up here? Why am I breaking up? We might have some other breaking news here. Hold on. Hold on. You know, some of this is obvious breaking news. Some of this, I got to verify it. Hold on. The LSU president signature should have not been on the document. I'm still getting DMs telling me that the LSU president signature is on the Saving College Sports document, but it should not be on there. It should not be on there. We've got Utah defensive end Lance Holtzclaw will be added to the Wednesday Senate Commerce Committee. Holtzclaw will join Nick Saban, Notre Dame Athletic Director Pete Bavacqua, and Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gould to discuss NIL transfer rules and protective college sports. That is happening Wednesday. I do not see a representation, a current person representing Big Ten or SEC on that Wednesday list. What is Chef Mohr talking about? I don't see Chef Mohr's comment. Ryan says, you missed my I do declare, Greg. The I do declare has to... Oh, I missed it. Sorry, Ryan. I apologize. $2 holler. Holy smokes. I do declare Notre Dame will beat BYU by 21 in Provo. Okay, I got a question. What is the line of Notre Dame and BYU? It's going to be less than 21, right? But I'm trying to figure out the the valuation of it. Should that be a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer? I'll figure that out. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the $2 holler. I appreciate it. BYU football is saying that is not happening. That is not happening. Greg, we're making you an honorary member of Ute Nation. I'm going to have to decline that. The reason I have to decline that invitation, Ben White, is number one, I would not want to be a member of any organization that would want me to be a member. If you are giving me an invite to be a member of your community, of your member of your nation, that speaks ill will of you. I would not want to be a member of an organization that would want me to be a member. That's number one. Number two is that I'm a Golden Gopher, only a Golden Gopher, and all of you are on the same level of evilness, except for the Badgers and the Hawkeyes. They are a little bit above the rest of you. But I look at all of you the same. This is why we have a national, independent, college football rebel outpost where everybody's evil except for, well, you know who. You know who. Notre Dame, 11.5. Notre Dame, 7-point favorite. Oh, that's going to be a 2 or 3 point valuation. I don't know which way to go. Kenneth Manis says the LSU president is full of it. He's backtracking. I don't know what Chef Maul said. I don't know where he's at. I don't know. Just repeat his poll. Oh. Imagine the Big Ten adds Miami and Utah, and you realize they play in Vegas in 2027. Woo! That's what Mullen thinks that the Big Ten should do that. I think the Big Ten is going to show more patience on that. We'll see. Maynard says the Irish wins 42-21. So Maynard does agree that Notre Dame will win by 21 points. The Big Ten is a corrupt conference. Look, the biggest scandals has been in the Big Ten. A lot of innocent people have been hurt by some evil people in the Big Ten. Cranky Tiger, self-deprecation is one of your greatest and most lovable traits, Greg. Well, that might be true, Cranky Tiger, but it's balanced off by my narcissistic personality disorder. So, I got my inferior complex versus my narcissistic personality disorder, and they're balancing off. Once in a while, one goes over the top on the other, and then we have problems. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger, doing an I do declare. Oh my goodness, Mama Duck. My goodness. I don't know. I do declare that Clemson makes it into the playoffs. Well, normally, I probably would not allow this because it would not be a bold enough prediction. This year, it is a bold enough prediction. Right? So, what do I give this one? A 2 or a 3? I have not done the Clemson Spotlight yet. Have I? I don't think I have. I haven't talked about Gideon Davidson this year. Vizini. 2 or 3. I don't know which way to go on it. I will evaluate. I will think about it, Mama Duck. But it is going to be officially booked in for tomorrow's show. We'll update everybody that will be booked in. Thank you, Mama Duck. Clemson to the playoffs. Boy, I might have to give that a 3. I can't give it a 4, but I might have to give it a 3. Mama Duck, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. We got Frank Pater, Super Chat. Frank Potter, I do declare Virginia Tech will beat Miami in Miami on November 21st. They are 15-15 over the past 30 years. Woo, boy. That's either a 4 or a 5 because Miami's absolutely loaded. Nothing against, the Hokies. That's a big one, Frank Potter. That's a big one. I don't see my eye. That's a big one. Frank Potter is taking a big swing. Big swing. Thank you so much for the $5 holler, Frank Potter. That's going to be a 4 or a 5, but I'm leaning 5 because it's not like it's the first week of the season. That's November 21st. Miami Hurricanes are going to be cranking up. Miami's about to get in the ACC championship game. I don't know. I just don't know about your quarterback. Now, I haven't seen it. To be fair, I haven't seen Grunkmeyer a lot. Thank you so much, Frank Potter. Appreciate it. We've got a $2 holler. $2 holler. Yes, the Sooners did take down the Yellow Jackets. Down goes number 2, Georgia Tech. So UCLA out, right? UCLA out, Georgia Tech out. Number 1, number 2. Thank you, Bruce Harris. The Sooners are rocking and a rolling. Kenneth Maynard, Clemson will be much better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for today. I do appreciate y'all joining us. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I do want to thank for all your support, all the donations. Let me run through it, helping us keep the lights on and keep growing this channel that is growing big time here. Chris Kenny, MBM, Jacoba Cat, John Grove, Evil Badger, Dave B, Go Black 45, Mohr After Dark, OPD Dunn, Dave B, Ryan, the Irish Ryan, OPD Dunn, the Wild Ute, the Professor Wild Ute, Christopher Hooter, Purple and Gold, Bill G, Oklahoma State Cowboy, Mama Duck, Frank Pater, and Bruce Harris. Thank you guys and gals for all your support. I want to thank the phone calls. Replica kind of calmed me down with his wisdom. He always got a lot of wisdom. Now, I think Replica might be a little bit upset with me that I'm so optimistic about his Texas Longhorns. I do have the Longhorns sitting there at number 1 seed going into the college football playoffs, number 1 Texas. So, I don't know if Replica likes that. See, I got the Longhorns beating the Buckeyes. And then I got the Buckeyes running the table, the Longhorns running the table, Texas number 1, Buckeyes number 2, and then I got the Buckeyes beating the Longhorns in the championship game. So, anyways, we'll take a look at that in August. We'll do our official predictions on the order of finish in every conference and then the playoffs. I don't see a whole lot of changes. I don't see a whole lot of adjustments from my way too early predictions to my final prediction in August. Why is that, you ask? Why don't I see major adjustments? It is because in my way too early order of finish prediction, It has already started. It had already started. '26 Redemption Tour. Greg the Goal. Yes, today it's all Minnesota Golden Gophers' fault. Every bit of it. We are the reason why college football is in the sorry state that it's in. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I do appreciate it. Make sure before you leave, smash the like button, share the video, become a subscriber, and ring that notification bell because we can come on live at any time. Until next time, from all of us to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden Gophers.